Do you think Davos misses his smuggling days? When life was simpler and he is able to live by his wits?
Him being promoted from small-time criminal to being sucked into this web, this game. You're playing games, you're paranoid, who's out to get you, the whole thing. I think it reflects real life. When people end up in powerful positions, you can't have a simple life anymore, and it's very difficult to be just happy. I think he feels he has a responsibility to be there to try and keep whoever it may be on the right track. His head is a little bit clearer than some, because he's decent and he's loyal, and he doesn't have that addiction for this horrible drug that is power. It's really nice to play somebody like that and play those little colours and all that. I really love this character. I love the guy's simplicity. He is who he is, and he's not a complicated character, and it's really nice to do that.
I think that's one of the special things about George R. R. Martin's writing, that every single character, even no matter how small they are, is completely multi-layered. We all get it's a great...
What do you mean small?
I don't mean you. I only had one word. I don't think I can compete. Hello. We know that Missandei owes a debt to Daenerys as she freed her from slavery. Do you think Daenerys should have made Missandei her hand instead of Tyrion?
I think Missandei has come from a completely different world. She's been dealing with a completely different set of dangers. This sort of strategizing and negotiating this very cutthroat world all of a sudden is so new. Tyrion knows the enemy. He is much more experienced with being a hand. So I think Tyrion is probably the better candidate for hand, and I fully support him in that role. And that sort of political landscape, although it would be super cool to be like hand to like your bestie, you know, like that would be cool. I'd love to play that. It's like girl power, you know, double team, like it'd be really fun.
I think he would have made an awesome hand, actually.
Oh, well, thank you.
TBH.
Thank you.
Okay, I think I've got time for one more group question you'll all be glad to hear. After so much time working on Game of Thrones, are you ready to act in a comedy, a rom-com, or a musical? And would you like to act or direct, or...?
I'm desperate to do a musical. Please, someone put me in a musical.
Cabaret type thing.
Maybe. With a kind of Marlene Dietrich kind of gender-bending sort of song and dance.
But can you sing?
Can she sing?
I don't know this. I don't know the answer. So if I ask this question, I'll prerequisite. I won't ask you to prove it.
The jury's out on that small aspect of doing a musical.
It's called miming.
Yeah. But I hear they can do all sorts with technology these days.
I don't know. I like the dark, gritty stuff. I feel like Game of Thrones incorporates rom-com musical, you know? I don't know if I could do comedy after all this. I'm in a very dark place in my life.
Yeah, I can second that. She is.
Would you like to be in a rom-com, or would you like to act or direct? Or I know you
love nothing more than to be in a rom-com.
Nothing more.
Directing is something that would definitely interest me, without a doubt. Just anything that comes my way. Not even, you know, I'll just, you know, take anything.
I'd like to be in Game of Thrones, the comedy rom-com musical.
Oh wow! How did that go?
It's ripe for a musical adaptation.
Shall we do it?
Yeah, David and Dan.
We're just the people to do it. You play the piano, I play the guitar.
What more
the White
do you
Walkers
need?
will come out behind the door and like tap dance.
Yeah, I mean you could have all sorts of different musical numbers.
When I was 13 years old, I played Potiphar, the plum role of Potiphar, in Joseph and His Amazing Technical Dreamcoat at school.
Wow.
Absolutely stormed it somehow then.
Oh, nice.
Couldn't sing then, can't sing now. I'd be interested in reprising my iconic role as Potiphar on the London stage for a hefty old fee.
No, I've done it all. Good night.
Wow.
I'm happy to take a rest and let other people do rom-coms, comedies, and what was the other one?
Musicals.
Oh no, they're not
Yeah,
getting the
all
music.
that kind of stuff.
I'm like super greedy. I want to do everything. Yeah, I want to make films, but
That wasn't an option. Rom-com, comedy.
So I just want to do like hard things. So I guess like a comedy or a rom-com would be quite hard. This is quite a hard show to follow. Like, what do you do? I'm a like master spearsman now. That's hard. I've been talking to Daniel Portman, who plays Pod, and we've been talking about a sort of sidequel to the show where Grey Worm and Pod and maybe Diana Harris. There's talk of spin-offs of the show. I just want to put my hat in the ring now and just say I really like the idea.
A cyborg?
Sidequel.
Oh.
It's like, so when you're not seeing...
Side porn?
Let's go with the cyborg version. I want the cyborg version. The Borg invade Westeros. Could we do that?
But you get like cameos, like Brienne would come in and be like...
Okay, as a cyborg?
As a cyborg,
I want that.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Actually, I can announce that the HBO spin-off has already been decided. It's going to be called Better Call Davos. You're welcome. I'd love to do some comedy. I did a lot of comedy on stage before I started this television business. Peter Dinklage was asked how did he think the last episode should go, and he thinks the last episode of the entire show should be a musical. But I'm with Peter Dinklage. I think it's a brilliant idea. We're breaking the norms with television. Let's go that way. Let's finish with a high-kicking number around the throne.
I'm sort of open to all things because you never know what comes into your, email inbox. You're like, oh, that's a good script, or that's be a fun thing to do. I don't like to be absolutist about anything. Like, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. Whether I can sing as well as I should, I mean, but I'd give it a go. I actually started off doing musicals. So I am so open to doing a musical. And, other stuff, like I've already sort of attempting to write things, and I'd love to be behind the camera too. So I'm sort of just like going with the flow.